like medium brightness setting on the lights. I'm not sure if that's easy to find, but some people asked us to turn the lights down a little bit. If you can't find it, that's okay. But also don't make it like dark. Christina, thank you. Just like down a notch. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Christina. So I can still see you as well. That helps me as well. If I'm just talking to a darkness, then that is darkness, my old friend. Yeah, sound of silence, but makes it makes it also a little bit difficult to talk for me. So it helped me as well. And yeah, there's questions here to answer. But remember, I said it before. The real answers you can find in silence. So I'm just going to say a few words, and maybe they're true, maybe they're not true. It's up to you to decide. But before I do that, actually, I'm delaying already, but don't worry. I don't worry anyway. But during the guided meditation, I talked a little bit about spreading kindness to your breath. And I said that's a little bit abstract maybe. Kindness to your breath. But you can have kindness to anything in the world. At some point in your practice, when you lose the sense of self, or it starts to fade away, you also lose the sense of other people having selves. So where are you having kindness towards? You're spreading kindness to other beings. It's more like you just become the kindness, and the kindness replaces you. And when you become fully enlightened, then it's just kindness and compassion. And no you anymore. And then you are like the Metta Sutta says, radiating kindness over the entire world. It just spreads out from you. And whatever is touched by the kindness, doesn't have to be a being. It can also be your breath. It can also be anything. When I was in Thailand with Ajahn Ganha, who I think is just compassion and no sense of self at all, not really inspiring. But when we were there, he told us, the Western monks, now this afternoon need to go on Dhutanga. And Dhutanga is traditionally that the monks go walking from town to town for months on end, and sleeping under the trees, and living it really rough, or the nuns. And I thought, oh no, is that what he wants us to do? Because before I came there, I decided I'm going to do whatever Ajahn Ganha tells me. And I know Dhutanga, I don't want to go on Dhutanga, that's it. I just want to sleep under a roof tonight. But luckily by Dhutanga, he just meant to go for a forest walk. But the forest walk was really long, actually. Like maybe 10 kilometers or more. Yeah, more actually, probably 15. And it was in a beautiful rainforest. Catherine said this morning that we are in a rainforest. Well, not technically speaking, but that was really a rainforest. Yeah, really big trees and all sorts of things. And now what happened? I was in Thailand for a long time, and no single day it rained except for that day when we went on our forest walk. And I just had very simple sandals. Just with the thing between your toes, you know, that you just wear to the beach. And the whole forest turned to mud. And it was all hilly and slippery and slidey. And I was there and I was all wet, all soaked through, and my feet were hurting because you have these sandals and they start slipping on your feet. They basically become useless. Some of the other monks even took them off. And we just struggling in the mud, your feet get all sucked in the mud. And I was like, why did Ajahn Ghana have to choose this particular day for us to send us on to Tonga? Can't he be wiser? He lives in Thailand for so long, he should know when it's gonna rain or not. I don't know, I can't tell. And I was getting upset, this stupid forest. At least in Bodhinyana when it rains, it soaks in straight away and you can still walk, but here it's all mud. And I realized, I'm getting annoyed. It's a little bit of ill will here. Let's try something else. So I decided, okay, the next thing I see, because I was just walking in the mud, watching my steps, and the mud, okay, that was too difficult to have loving kindness to. So I thought, whatever next I see that is not mud, I will have loving kindness to.
Anything except mud.
Anything except mud, yeah, exactly. I have loving kindness to. And what was the next thing I saw? Huge pile of cow dung. Because they have these wild cows or whatever they are there walking around. And I was like, beautiful cow dung. Thank you for being here, distracting me from the mud. Thank you for coming out of such a beautiful cow and lying there. And that really helped me actually. Because it also was a little bit silly, of course. I laughed straight away, like, now I'm going to have loving kindness to cow dung. But it worked. And after that, I met many more friends on the way, called cow dung. Because they were everywhere. There a cow dung. And every cow dung reminded me, kindness. And that was really helpful. Actually, I think I was so focused on the cow dung that I got lost on the way back. Because me and Madam, actually there was Venerable Dhammadipa who was sitting here the other day. We were taken out into the forest by some monks who lived there. And on the way back we decided, okay, they walk too slowly, we just go our own way and we will find a way back, should be easy enough. Of course we got lost. So then it took 2 hours more to get back. Just before dark we came back. This was something different. But anyway, you can have kindness towards anything, including your breath, including your body, including the present moment, including the angry demons in your mind, the angry eating demons. We have a very cute angry eating demon here. Yeah. I should do questions, whatever. I spoke to a mother once, not too long ago. And she told me, I find it quite easy to not get anxious about my own life, but when it comes to my children, I get very anxious and nervous about their lives and how they're doing. And she wanted to get rid of that anxiety. Yeah? It's like the demon inside of your mind that you want to get rid of. And then I asked her if any other mother you would meet had zero anxiety about her children, would you think that was a good mother? She thought for a moment, said, no, I don't think that would be a good mother. So why are you anxious about your children? I want to be a good mother. I want them to have a good life. I want them to turn out to be good children. And I want them to be safe and well. Those are all good reasons. So that anxiety beneath that is actually compassion. So you can also be accepting of that anxiety. And with so many emotions it's like that. Yeah? In this case, the example that I give, it's kind of clear when I tell it to you. But you have your own struggles. And beneath that is always love towards yourself, hidden somewhere. Yeah. Some compassion there. Maybe not the wisest compassion, like Ajahn Kanha, but still compassion. So we can be kind. That's what I wanted to say. Do you agree? Good guy. All right. I just want to make sure that... Oh, no, I'm making a mess here. But maybe some people put their questions on the top, then they think, and at least I'm sure it gets answered then. But no. Okay, let's go for it. Will you start a monastery in the Netherlands? Then the Netherlands? What's the Netherlands? Oh, I think I left the Netherlands outside the gate. Oh, yeah. I put it down there somewhere. Yeah, no, that future that you're talking about. Yeah, no. I don't know about that. For now, this is my Carthusian monastery with all my Carthusian monks. And things about the future, who knows? Please explain seeing the shore. What is the perception of Nibbana? Oh, the shore. Okay. So Nibbana is like the safety from suffering, and the shore. The Buddha sometimes called it the shore because the river represents suffering, and then on the other side of the river there is a safe shore to go to. So, what is the perception of Nibbana versus being on the shore? Is the perception knowing the possibility of ending and freedom? So basically he sort of wants me to talk about Nibbana as another shore and as a place of safety. How shall I approach that? Just imagine being completely free from all worries. No anger, no ill will, no worries, no fears, no restlessness. Just being content to be there. Nibbana, there's two ways people talk about Nibbana. One way is the ending of greed, hatred and delusion. Basically the ending of the defilements of the mind. And that is when you let go of all your sense of self. And I said before, you let go of your sense of self, you disappear. But the peace is there. And the kindness is there. That is what Nibbana is about. And the best way to perceive Nibbana is let go of whatever you can. Let go of everything. If you let go of everything, then you'll find the deepest peace. If we take life as it is, in acceptance of what is, in contentment, then where do choices come from? As in, whether to keep a person in your life or walk away, or if a situation feels as if it doesn't suit, do we walk away or sit with it until we are content with it? Okay, so this is sort of I suppose the idea is if we're content with everything, then we will never do anything. But why? Maybe you can also be content to walk away from that person. You can be content with different things, and you can be content making a certain choice. And by contentment, I don't mean that we just accept all that is thrown upon us in life. Yeah? We don't become a doormat that people just abuse us. Contentment means also wisdom. And wisdom means we take care of ourselves as well. And if you have contentment, you know when to walk away from a certain person. when that it might be the better thing to do. Because you take care not only of the other person but also of yourself. This is what it means to be content. To also be wise at the same time. Let's say you're just sitting there meditating, content, and you become hungry. I'm content to be hungry. But if you're wise, then you know at some point you'll have to eat. So, okay, I'm content to stand up and get some food. Yeah? It's not like fully contented beings don't do anything at all. The Buddha was a good example of a person who did a lot of sharing and did a lot of kind things for other people, even though he was content. Yeah. But this is a funny thing. He also said at some point, whether all beings achieve Nibbana, or whether all beings understand my teachings, or maybe just a half of it, or maybe a third of it, I am content with that. So he just teaches, and he doesn't expect any results from it. Maybe nobody would have understood the Buddha. Well, people did. It's just really amazing. But maybe nobody would have understood the Buddha, and then he would still be happy. He used to teach just for the sake of it. Do you think our mind has been made to be so calm, or are we anyway forcing it? Your questions can be really cryptic in a way. Do you think our minds has been made to be so calm, or are we anyway forcing it? Maybe I'm just not understanding completely what you mean here, but the deepest calm is when the mind also disappears. The mind can become calm, but it's even more peaceful when the mind also disappears. The mind is also part of the impermanence, arising and ceasing, changing all the time. The Buddha said, it's like a monkey jumping through the forest, grabbing one tree branch, then another tree branch, then another tree branch. Even the enlightened mind is like that. It's still changing all the time. It's peaceful and calm, but it's still changing because it thinks about different things, and the content of the mind changes as well. So even deeper peace can be had when the mind also disappears. So the mind is not made to be calm. The mind is not made to do anything. The mind is just the mind. And are we forcing it? Well, don't force the calm. Yeah? If you force the calm, I think I've already sort of explained, then it doesn't work. But actually, in meditation, there's a certain amount of calm you can actually reach through force. Some people are really good at sort of just forcing out the thoughts and just like the 1, 2, 3, now we start game, right? Remember that? 1, 2, 3, now we start. Some people can meditate like that. 1, 2, 3, now I start. No thoughts. They don't have any thought. But that's as far as it goes then. You can achieve a certain amount of peace, but if you want to have real deep peace, right, and you're not forcing it, then you find the real deep peace. And that can be like the bottle of water, remember? Well, now it's almost completely full, so I'll give the example again. It's just such a good simile. Some of you have seen it 100 times before, like me, but it doesn't matter. You can force the mind still to a certain degree, but don't get fooled and think that this is the end goal, to just hold your mind still like this. Many people can get stuck there. Yeah? They might even have some of those lights arising in the mind, almost through force of will, holding the mind still. But that's as deep as it will go. It won't go any further. There will always be some movement if you hold the mind still like this. Now the tricky thing is when I tell you to put the mind down, when you put it down, at first it moves more. You see the water now moves more. So you think, oh, that was wrong. I should actually hold it like this. But trust the teachings. And put it down, and maybe it moves more at first, but eventually it will become more still than you could ever be if you held the mind with force. Also, feel free to play around a bit, yeah. I say do this and don't do that, and spread kindness like this, and so forth. But you can be experimental with your mind. Don't always just go messing around and trying all sorts of different things, because then it's just restlessness. But why not be a bit playful with your mind and be a bit of a rebel? Do things differently. Try your own techniques from time to time. That's how I come up with certain meditations that you might not have heard before, certain ideas, because I tried them for myself and they worked for me, and then I teach them to you and maybe they work, but maybe you come up with your own things. And they might just work, even though people never told you about it. Actually, when I'm living here in Jhana Grove now, sleeping over there, and when I walk around here, I see so many things that I actually helped build over the years, because this is still quite a new place. And when I first came, they were still working all sorts of stuff. The nuns' cottage was still built, Venerables. I put some of your furniture together. Yeah, like screwing the furniture together. I put some of these, helped put these up, the boards, because it was like a gym in here before. It was very echoey. Now it's really good, right? So that's what I did. And the walkway going down to the lower cottages, the roof. Actually, when I built that was funny. We were doing the angle grinding, me and Venerable Buddha, who I mentioned before. And I was with the angle grinder to cut the metal for the strut or whatever. And suddenly Venerable Buddha runs up to me. Ah! Your robe is on fire! Your robe is on fire! Flames like this on my robe. Like real big hole in my robe. We have special work robes, but yeah, then I had to get some new robes. And of course, just when I was away getting new robes, Ajahn Brahm came to check how we were doing. He said, oh, where's Sunyo? He thought I was just lazy working, not showing up or something. No, that's not what he thought, but that was a funny thing. And well, why was I saying that? Oh yeah. Also, when you walk in Jhana Grove, you see the little wall from the gate, the gate that closes, where we put down the Netherlands and all sorts of other stuff. Well, I put down the Netherlands there anyway. Well, that wall I also helped build. And when we were building that, you see it's all made out of different types of stones, right? Different rocks. It's not like these kind of bricks, which are all square. No, they're all different sizes. And they basically gathered from the terrain here. Or maybe they were ordered in, I can't remember. But they're natural rocks. And it's very hard to stack a nice, straight and square wall from natural rocks. So you really have to search through the rocks and find the right one that fit onto the next one, to fit into the next one, to stack it up high. And there was also one ex-professional builder, who was a monk, who was there, and he saw me put down one of the rocks. It was like a big V shape like this, as far as I remember. Maybe it wasn't that big, but then when I put that down there, he said, oh, the mortar you're using, Sunyo, do you know that is not glue? It just holds things up. So that rock is going to fall out because it's on an angle. It'll fall out. And I said, yeah, okay. Then I decided, well, I'm going to put it there anyway, see what happens. The experiment, you know. I was a bit stubborn. And it's still there. So every time I walk past, I may not be able to find the exact rock, but then I think, see, it's good to be a rebel sometimes and just do things differently. And it will work out anyway. And it's the same sometimes in your meditation. Just do things differently sometimes. Because maybe you've been trying the same thing over and over again, it's never working. Try something else. Thank you for running this retreat. Running, I've not done much running, only like walking, sitting. Oh yeah, thank you for running this retreat. My mind wanders even with the shortest of guided meditations. Any hints to keep focus? Thank you. Your mind wanders even with the shortest guided meditation. Any hints to keep focus? Find some joy in being here. If you are happy to be here, then the mind naturally is inclined to stay here. So you can even purposefully generate some joy. And in fact, we can do a little guided meditation. Why not? Some people have told me that they are very helpful. Maybe for others they don't work as much like this person, but we'll see. Yeah, please turn down the lights a bit. Or all the way. Just going to do a short guided meditation, nothing too serious. About finding some joy in the present moment. Joy is one of the awakening factors the Buddha said we should develop. And it's also a very beautiful one. So can you find any reason, anything here that you can be happy about? Can you be happy just to share this room together? Can you be happy like the day fly, that you're just here, alive? Just put a smile on your face and be happy. For whatever reason. It's not so bad, this retreat center. It's pretty good actually. You won't be here forever. But for now, why not enjoy the place? Enjoy this moment. Nothing special needs to happen. But you're just happy to be here. This is good enough. This moment. Not perfect, I know. Your mind might be moving about, but it's good enough. And can you hone in on that happiness and joy of just being here? The joy of the silence. The joy of having nowhere to go and nothing to do. It's very rare that people get a chance to experience this. Maybe you can even just be happy with the stupid answers that I'm giving. I know I'm not perfect. Maybe it's good enough. Be happy with yourself as well. This is just a short guided meditation, just to give you a little flavor. Also helps me to center a bit. Now please open your eyes again, and we can turn up the lights a bit. And end this meditation. It's a good question. My mind wanders even with the shortest meditations. As I said, I'm just sort of experimenting with these short meditations. I find myself very useful. And I said, just let me know any feedback if that's what you think. But here is a point. That you might consider, the person who asked the question. Especially when I was new to meditation, I found out that I had to sit for a certain amount of time before the mind found some peace, before the mind settled down. And these short meditations probably might not be long enough for some of you, maybe most of you. But they do give you a little flavor. But if you really want your mind to settle more and more, try to sit for longer and longer. And we'll do that later during this retreat. We'll just sit here and sit. We'll see how long. Maybe for 7 hours or so. No, I'm joking. Maybe. But try to sit at least for maybe 45 minutes. Just in quiet, without guided meditation. Don't put on any guided meditation. Try that from time to time here in this retreat, in your room or here. Because especially when I first started meditating, I found that it was almost like a magical number, 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, my mind then found some peace. And I don't know why. Maybe at some point it suddenly just clicked, and at some point it just decided to, okay, I've thought enough now, and I don't need to think anymore. So that could also be the cause of why these short meditations, your mind is not so still. Maybe they're just too short. And also the guided meditations, even if they're longer, so far I've done them pretty actively, like spreading kindness and so forth. It can also be a tiny bit disturbing to the mind as well. So just try sitting down and being in the present moment, focusing on your breath if you feel like, and do that for much longer. 45 minutes at least, maybe even longer, whatever feels comfortable. How to practice forgiveness to find peace. Thank you. Forgiveness is a very personal thing, because we all have to forgive different things, different people. Yeah? I don't have anybody to forgive, because I don't think that anybody treated me badly in the last few days. And everything before that I already forgave already. Yeah. When we there's this ceremony that we do with Ajahn Brahm, then we ask forgiveness, usually at the start of the range retreat and at the end of the range retreat. And then he sometimes says, okay, it's not necessary because I've forgiven you already for whatever you've done, even if I don't know what it is. But I also forgive you for everything you might do in the future already. It's the same with me for you and everybody else. I forgive people already, because I know it's just the nature that people sometimes misbehave. And forgiveness comes from wisdom. If you know you yourself are not perfect, if you see why other people do things they do, you see the reasons behind it, then you can forgive, and it becomes very, very easy. And then forgiveness automatically leads to peace. As a monk, I occasionally have listened to a podcast or something like that. Just when my mind is a little bit too distracted. Please don't do it during this retreat. It's a special time. But sometimes I do that. Just to get some new stories and new ideas, if it's recommended to me. And I had this podcast of a journalist who was working in Somalia. He was working in Somalia, and he was captured by the Somalian pirates. And they ambushed him on the road and kidnapped him. And they kept him in prison for 3 years. 3 years he was in prison there, before finally, I think, maybe the US, his home country, made some sort of deal with the pirates or something, can't remember. But when he was asked, how did you make it through those 3 years? Because they were treating him very badly, giving him bad food and just in a room with nothing to do. Maybe at some point they gave him like some things to do, but of course when you're kidnapped, and these pirates they wanted money, by the way, from the US, but they were asking way too much, so from his parents or whatever. And I think they gave him a radio at some point. Yeah, that's it, that's what they gave him. And when asked, how did you make it through? He said, I was listening to the radio and I heard a talk on the radio by the Pope, the Catholic Pope, on forgiveness. And he said, I realized that these pirates, from that talk I realized they had a really rough life. And they were brought up this way, they didn't know any better. And in Somalia, it's also very difficult to get by. And there's a lot of drugs and abuse, and these pirates, they come into it when they're very young, when they're teenagers still. They're sort of brainwashed into doing this. And he realized, if I wouldn't have heard that talk about forgiveness, then I would probably maybe try and kill those pirates just so they would kill me in the process. And I would not have made it out of there. And it's forgiveness that saved me in the end. I just found that a very powerful story. It's forgiveness. Can forgive everything. If that man can forgive his kidnappers even while he is still in prison, and not years afterwards, but while he is there, wow. Isn't there anything we can't forgive? It can be difficult to forgive people. And when you have been abused, always put care of yourself first. Don't try to forgive the other person before you make peace with yourself. But at some point, you might be able to do that. Those inspiring things. I'm just gonna maybe gather all the similar questions together, you know. Do the monks go on alms at the nearest village like the Buddha did? Is it to remain humble? The monks in general, but you probably mean the monks here in Jhana, across the road. And the nearest village is 8 kilometers away from Jhana, down the hill. It's also a very small village. Yeah? And there's not many Buddhists living there. At some point we actually, it was a long time ago, they went on alms round there and just showed up again and again, but yeah, people didn't come and didn't give anything, so it didn't really work out. So what we do is we do an alms route inside of the monastery. So people actually come to the monastery and then we go on alms route there. It's very small. It would be lovely to do it more bigger, but it just doesn't really work here in this situation, unfortunately. But monks and nuns can travel around and do that in other places. Dear Venerable Sunyo, in meditation, is it possible to know that pain is present without actually feeling it? I have experienced knowing that pain is present in the knee without actually feeling it. How should this experience be understood? Thanks so much. Wow. You ask a question and then you immediately give the answer, right? Is it possible to know if pain is present without feeling it? I have experienced pain is present without feeling it. So apparently for you it's possible. But pain is an interesting thing. As with all our perceptions of the body, actually. The way we feel the body is very fluid. Can change a lot. Especially when you're meditating. And sometimes you meditate and you feel maybe your body is expanding and becomes bigger and bigger. It doesn't mean you're the angry eating demon. It becomes bigger and bigger. But it just means your mind is playing with perceptions. You might feel like you're floating, or you might feel like, oh, maybe you're sitting like this, you feel like. But then you open your eyes and it turns out you're actually sitting perfectly straight. Or other strange perceptions in your body. And with feeling, it's also, or with pain, it's also perception. I was once making a cup of tea in my hut in Jhana. Yeah, of course, very, very mindful. You know, putting it. We don't have electricity there where I was, so put on the gas stove that is outside, one of those camping ones. Put the kettle on, wait until it's boiled, and then took the kettle, and I went and opened the door. And with the kettle still in my hand. Yeah? And my other hand here. Pouring the hot water. Actually, I put it in a thermos flask first. That's why I wasn't mindful. Because the thermos flask, usually when I pour it in, then I close it straight away with the lid. And then you can hold it any way you want. But I didn't put the lid on. So I poured it in a thermos flask and then poured it on my hand. Ow, ow, ow. Of course it hurts. Well, first thing I did, of course, put it under the cold water for a while. But yeah, you can only do that for so long. After I took it out, still hurts, still hurts. Stupid Sunyo, why did you do that? And I'm like, now what? It wasn't severe enough to go to a doctor, luckily. I noticed that straight away, because I put it on the tap. But then I was like, yeah, well, now I'm here with my painful hand. Might as well meditate. So I sat down and meditate on the pain. You couldn't avoid it, basically. What did I feel? I was like, this hurts. This hurts. It hurts so much. Suddenly I realized it wasn't that I felt the pain first and then I reacted, this hurts. It was the other way around. I said, this hurts, and then it felt painful. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. What if I tell myself, this doesn't hurt? I tell myself, this doesn't hurt. It didn't hurt. It's like, wow. Tell myself, okay, this feels pleasant. This feels really pleasant. Yeah. Pouring boiling water on your hand. So nice. And it did feel pleasant. It becomes so nice. It's a great feeling. Wow, I thought like, I'm going to pour boiling water all over me. No. Don't be stupid like that. Like, it became really, really nice feeling. Like physically, it was one of the most interesting feelings I've ever had. And I realized that I was doing that with my mind. And I went to Ajahn Brahm afterwards and I told him about it. And he said, yeah, you were just changing the perceptions. And I thought, this is so strange. This is unnatural. So actually, we do have internet in the monastery, so I thought I need to look this up. Pain, perception, enter. We live in a digital age which can be dangerous, lots of distractions and so forth, but sometimes it can be very useful as well. And I found this talk, a TED talk, by a scientist studying pain. And he's actually an Australian, and this was such a funny talk. It's the funniest talk I've ever seen. Mosley, was his last name, I believe. After the retreat, you can look it up. It's so funny. But he talked about pain. He said, it's all in the brain. Buddhists, we talk about the mind, but he being a scientist, it's about all in the brain. It's not in your body. And they did all sorts of studies to show that is the case. For example, he mentions a lot. I won't explain it to you all, but this was a funny one. They invited students for pain tests. He said, they're all the crazy students because they come for a pain test. A pain study, study on pain. And what they did is they put this device on their head, right? This pain-generating device that generates headaches in your head. They put it on. And then they had a dial, and the student could see the dial in front of them. And then the experimenter would turn on the dial from 1 to 10. Yeah? And the students see the dial going up. And the further the dial went up, they had to report how much it hurt. They said, how much does this headache-generating device, we're testing this device, how much does it hurt? And the further the needle went up, the more pain the student experienced. But it was just one of those hair-drying things. And it was not generating headache at all. It was doing nothing, absolutely nothing. But just being told that they were going to experience pain. They experienced pain. Because the brain is told, this is dangerous, it's going to hurt. And then it hurts. It's strange, right? But even scientists agree that is the way it is. So I'm not just me talking stuff and nonsense, not this time anyway. Yeah, so if you feel pain, but it's not pain, yeah, you're probably still aware of your knee, but it's some sort of feeling going on that should be pain, because maybe it was pain before, like me with boiling water. That should be pain, But then I felt it, changed my perception. It wasn't pain anymore. And this can be very helpful for people who are in lots of pain, chronic pain. To be able to maybe not completely remove the pain, but to know you're not a victim to it completely. It's also part of how you relate to it. So yes, it's possible to know that pain is present without feeling it, I would agree. Ajahn Brahm in his Q&R, probably Q&A, encourages people not to wait for him to leave first. He says, go, may you please out of compassion do the same. No. I already did that earlier actually, didn't I? before asking, I will do that. Leave when any time. You can leave during the talk as well. Whatever. Well done for setting an example and using a normal cup. Inspiring. Thank you very much for that kind comment. This cup is going to make the whole retreat, you know. It's going to be a running joke. Yeah, you know, cups are just cups. Don't worry too much about it. But now I feel bad for using this cup. Like this person is now probably like, oh, see? Okay. For you. I really don't mind what kind of cup. Actually, I do like, the more silly the cup is, the more I like it. Bodhiana, we have this whole box of cups. Some have the smiley face like this on it. And that's one I like. And I also have one of Garfield. I like this one as well. Thank you, Catherine, Noelia, Meyer, Christina, and all kitchen staff for doing a wonderful job at lunchtime today. We enjoyed the lunch you quickly prepared. Well done, team, metta and sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu. Yeah. Imagine that you can feel like that every day. Every day people make food for you. Wow. So inspiring. Become a monk or a nun. Then you can experience it every day. At home, I have physical waste. Physical waste. Not much time to relax, but sleep well. At the retreat, my physical work only relax and meditate, but have trouble to sleep. Why? Sorry, maybe it's me, but I'm not can't really read all the things very well. Question. So I have trouble at the retreat. Have trouble sleep. Why? On the retreat, have trouble sleep. Why? Question. When monks have range retreat, which means most of time to meditate, how many hours do monks sleep a day during range retreat? Okay, so it's about sleep. And sometimes you sleep a lot on a retreat, and sometimes it can be the opposite. Yeah? You want to sleep, but you just can't sleep. You're just awake, just being there. And it can actually be a good sign if it doesn't come from worry and anxiety. That can be the case that meditation takes some of the purpose of sleep, yeah? Or the function of sleep, sorry, I should say. You sit or walk, be quiet, not think too much. You spend less energy. The brain is one of the most energy-consuming organs in the body. There's probably a certain percentage that you can put on that. But if you relax, think less, you use less energy. Also, you sit down a lot probably much more than you usually do, and you're not as active, so you'll be less tired. Don't worry if that happens. Yeah? Then just enjoy it, actually. Sometimes it can be, if your meditation goes deep, you're just awake for days after end. You just don't need to sleep. I've had those experiences. Your meditation goes really deep and it's just impossible to sleep for a couple of days. And then you can start worrying, should sleep every day, right? No, not then. If your meditation goes really deep, you get so much energy out of it that you don't need to sleep. You might still just lie down to rest your body, but you're just aware. Happy there. And question, how many hours do the monks sleep a day during the rains retreat? Well, I can't speak for all of the monks, but how many hours do I sleep a day during your rains retreat? Maybe 2 hours a day, 8 a night. No, it varies a lot. Yeah, sometimes you have those experiences that you don't need to sleep at all. Other times you just sleep a lot. Don't put a number on it. Not me anyway. In Australia we speak English. Please don't make us chant sadhu. It's weird and cult-like. Chant English, please, so we can understand. Okay, so sadhu means good. So now you understand. It means good or awesome. White cup, humbleness, happiness. These are all different handwriting, so that's the strange thing. White cup, humbleness, happiness, and fresh air, nice open door. Thank you. Can anyone get enlightened in this life? Some talk about paramis and past karma. That makes me lose hope and give up. Yes, please lose all hope. And please give up. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Hope is about the future. Giving up, letting go. Don't expect to become enlightened. Then you become enlightened. If I put the causes in, can it happen in this life? Yes, it can. And there's no reason why lay people couldn't become enlightened, or at least become the first stages of enlightenment. And when you reach the first stages, we call that stream entry, because the stream is the path that takes you to the ocean of Nibbana. And if you enter the stream, then you can't exit the stream anymore. You can't decide, I don't like the ocean where I'm going. Let me get back on the shore and just continue forever in samsara, in suffering. You can't do that. So when you get into the stream, enlightenment is for sure. And it's only a few more lives that you might live in, get reborn. And so definitely stream entry is definitely possible for lay people. And probably also beyond, but stream entry is enough. Why stream entry? This moment is enough. Happy to be here right now, letting go. You think you know what enlightenment is. Maybe you got an idea what stream entry might be. But all your perceptions are twisted. Whatever you think it will be like, will be something different. So whatever you hope to achieve, it will be different from that, because it's all filtered through a sense of self and delusion. Even if you understand intellectually, psychologically it's still filtered. Even stream enters have still a lot to learn. They don't really know what it means to become enlightened. That's a later thing that they learn later on. And they become, that's something that they learn in later stages of the path. But there's no reason that you couldn't become at least a stream enter in this life. There is in the suttas they say there's certain reasons when you can't, and none of those reasons is my meditation is restless. My paramis are not good. That's like spiritual power. No, those reasons are things like killing your mother, or killing an enlightened being, things like that. Yeah. So those are called the antarayika karmas, the obstructive karmas that obstruct you from attaining these stages. But I suppose you haven't killed your mother or father. And if you didn't, then you got all the chance. There was a serial killer in the time of the Buddha, Angulimala. And he was called Angulimala because Angulimala means, mala is like a necklace or a strand, and Anguli means finger. And he had a strand of the finger of all the people he had killed around his neck. A necklace of all the fingers hanging down. All the people that he killed. And he met the Buddha on the road. And what the Buddha, the Buddha said, I think he sort of asked him, like, why are you moving? Why are you walking? And then the Buddha says, I'm not moving, I've already stopped. And the Buddha, of course, meant mentally he had stopped. When I'm teaching you things like don't do anything, don't go anywhere, this is from the suttas. The Buddha says, I've already stopped. That's what you want to do, stop. Don't go anywhere. Here right now. But anyway, I tell you this because this serial killer became fully enlightened in that life. So I hope we have no serial killer in our midst. If retreatants slowly start disappearing. Catherine, can you turn off the lights? No. Don't do that. Because I was going to do... And then we turn on the lights and then everybody's in the place. And then we have to do the clues or whatever the game is called. Yeah. No. There's no serial killer in this retreat. So, but even if you were, apparently you could get enlightened. How to deal with expectations and wanting past good meditations? An excellent question. Yeah? You get into meditation, maybe when you're new even. Yeah? And you have some peaceful experiences. You're like, wow, this meditation is really good. I know exactly how to meditate now. I'm going to do that again. And you strive. And you try. And you crave that feeling again and again. That peace. To get it back. And it never comes back. Why? Of course, because you want it. I've been talking about that already. But how can you deal with it? Let me just give you another piece of advice. That happy experience, where is it now? It's in the past, right? It was impermanent as well. So any future happy experience like that will also be impermanent. It'll come and it'll go. I've already mentioned it, so I might as well. These nimittas, jhanas, they come and they go. They're impermanent. Why would you crave for something impermanent? Yeah? And then you just experience it again, and then you'll be in exactly the same place if you don't learn. You'll just expect it again and want it again. You might attain it again, but then you want it again. Be wiser than that. Be happy where you are. You've experienced it in the past. That's good enough for me. I don't need to experience that again. I'm happy. The rest of my meditation, the rest of my life, it's going to be all misery and grief. It's funny because when you have that attitude, it's never misery and grief. and it's always going to be, at least to some extent, peaceful. Yeah. So it's all impermanence, and that's why, and I told you before, just rest in impermanence. Be impermanence. Then every moment is the same. Whether it's good or bad, deep or not deep, it comes and it goes, and you invite it in and let it go. That's called equanimity. When I first got into Buddhism, I found that a very fancy word, equanimity, and we just throw it around like everybody knows what it is. Not sure how, maybe for English people it's more familiar, but it just means stable mind. Actually, the literal word is upekkha, which means, ikati means to look, and upa means to look on. You're just looking on, no judgment, just being there. This is one of the powers of the awakening factors. Just happy to be there, whatever happens. If you want these peaceful meditations, realize that there is something better than peaceful meditations. Something better than the jhanas. Yeah? It's equanimity. Especially the equanimity of the enlightened beings. Pretend you're enlightened. You've already had all the jhanas you needed to become enlightened. You don't need them anymore. Now you're just there. I'm going to say it again, I'm sorry. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. It's really a deep teaching from Thich Nhat Hanh. I'll pick the smallest one, the smallest piece of paper. I like it when questions mesh together, when they connect together. Why is stream entry irreversible? Describe in detail how it's so. Perhaps a whole talk. Even if one gets Alzheimer's. Okay, even if you get Alzheimer's. Why would you still be irreversible? Well, a whole talk? Yeah, maybe everybody can leave except the person who asked this question. We can have a whole talk about it. Why is it irreversible? It's actually a good question. Why is it irreversible? Because you have seen something so profound and so deep, you can never forget it. It's so different from anything else. And it's not something you can ever let go of again. Yeah? It's like carved in a rock, in a way. Yeah, if you carve something in a rock, it'll stay there for years and years and basically never disappears. And the experience of stream entry is so powerful that you can't forget it. And also, it takes away parts of what you thought you were. It takes away part of the sense of self. And when that part disappears, it just doesn't come back again. It's like I take this tissue, right? This tissue is who you think you are, yeah? All square. And one day you let go, and a whole part of you just falls away like that. And that whole part is gone. Whoosh. And not holding on to it anymore. Is this tissue paper ever going to come back together again? No, because part is gone. There's no way to put it back together again. And eventually this whole tissue paper realizes that the rest also are empty. My name Sunyo means empty. There's nothing there. Very deep. I'll stop there. That's maybe another day. I'll give another whole talk on that, but not now. I want to do some more simple questions. Okay, let's end with this one. Dear Venerable Sunyo, how long until I can levitate? My knees are killing me. Thanks. Yes. All right. It's a funny thing that when there's a prison across the road. It's called Carnet Prison. If you drive further down the road, you find it. It's like a minimal security prison for prisoners who sort of already served much of their sentence somewhere else and now are ready to be reintegrated into society. So it's like a farm. Yeah? And they teach all sorts of jobs there. And the monks go there to teach meditation. Yeah? To make the prisoners a bit more kind, forgiving. And prisoners come to that. I've actually not had the opportunity to do it myself, but many of the monks go there to teach. When the monks first got there, it's a story I heard because I didn't go there myself. I think Ajahn Brahm told it. Lots of prisoners showed up. And the first question was, can you teach us how to levitate so we can go over the wall? And when the monk said, no, I'm not going to teach you that, then the next time many less prisoners came. Yeah, I'm a bit skeptical about levitation, to be honest. I mean, I was trained like a scientist. I've never seen anybody physically levitate. What I actually think, and actually for those of you who are a little bit more into scholarly kind of study of the suttas, is that some of these psychic powers that the suttas talk about, and levitation, but also the Buddha traveling through the air and going from place to place, which we read about in the suttas. And if you compare some of the text, then that is probably not with his physical body, but with his what they call an astral body, with like a mind-made body. So that's what I think the levitation also is about, personally. Until somebody can prove me otherwise. But yeah, I can't teach you to levitate, but your knees are killing you. Maybe I can teach you about that still. Maybe remember the teachings about pain that I talked about before, and maybe try also. Are you saying, my knees are killing me, ow, my knees are killing me, ow. Maybe you're creating the pain by already being convinced that your knees are painful. Maybe they are already painful, but try and play around with that. Also try and forget about your knees for a while. Yeah. If they are painful, you don't have to focus on them all the time. This other person said, had pain in their knee, and they knew it, but it wasn't there. So maybe you can do the same as well. And I would like to end it there for today. No, that was pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, you can put in some more questions actually. I think I did almost half of it that's in there. Can be proud of myself. No, just joking. All right. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And for that person, let's do 3 awesomes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's awesome to be here, awesome to meditate, and awesome to hear the Buddha's teachings. Thank you all, you're also all very awesome. And please have a good night rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. And please leave before me. I might just wait until everybody's gone.